SaveWithConrad.com.
Yeah, I'm Justin Bruckman from Knoxville, Tennessee. What got me to Save with Conrad was the 83 Weeks podcast. I really wasn't thinking about getting rid of any debt. I just wanted to cash out some equity in the house to do remodeling. But I did both, so that was pretty awesome. Worked out great. Redid the foyer, built pantry space, and there's little odds and ends when I first bought the house that I wanted to take care of, and we were able to take care of it. So, yeah, paid off 2 cars and some credit card debt. So probably all in all, get $30,000 in that. And then I got some $30,000 more equity out of the house, and still plenty of equity left over. So payment's good. I lowered my interest rate. I'm in a much better spot than I was. Super easy. Everybody was great. Very, very awesome people. Francis and Steve were great to work with. They were awesome. Made it for a very easy, seamless experience. I'd probably say all in all, probably $1,000 a month at least. I'm lowered my interest rate, especially the way the interest rates are right now, which is, that's amazing. I'm Justin Bruckman from Knoxville, Tennessee. I saved over $1,000 with SaveWithConrad.com, and I did a lot of renovations with that money as well.
NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. SaveWithConrad.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Grilling JR with the voice of professional wrestling, Mr. Jim Ross. Jim, how are you, man?
I'm good, Connie. How you doing?
Man, better than I deserve. Excited to be on with you today. What's shaking, bacon? What's new in your world?
Not too much. Not too much. Just moving along. Doing all right. So,
of course, JR took a big trip to Las Vegas. You were out at Wrestle Con, sitting alongside Jerry the King Lawler. A really great, unique photo op. I'm sure everybody had a blast in Vegas. What was your experience like at Wrestle Con this year, Jim?
It's good. It's good. We had a good time, and Lawler and I had some fun. So it's all good, man. There you go. That's a nice picture
of Sting. What do you think about Sting growing out the facial hair? It's a new look for the Stinger.
Yeah, he looks good. That was a nice photo op, and he looked good. He looked good. He looked a little retro, but he was he looked fine to me. And he had a good time, and all was right with the world, seemed like.
Well, if you missed Jim at WrestleCon this year, we got you covered. JR is going to be at the Knoxville Fanboy Expo on July 11th through July 13th. For more details on how you can meet the voice of wrestling, head on over to fanboyexpo.com. Jim, I like that you're getting out there and making more of these appearances. I mean, WrestleCon, the Fanboy Expo, and I don't know if you heard, but StarCast bracelets are on sale now. It's going to be a who's who of professional wrestling legends and, of course, all your favorite stars from AEW. So the voice of wrestling, Jim Ross, will be there. And, well, we may have something fun planned for JR. I wonder if there's a clue in the top right-hand corner of that logo with JR's hat hanging over the top. Go grab your bracelets right now. A lot of people have called this like the Disneyland experience for wrestling fans. And we've got those bracelets available, which would get you early access to buy the meet and greets, and of course, all access at all of our panels and different discussions and different events. We're going to have a full weekend planned, Jim, and man, that's going to be here before you know it. StarCast on the way to support All In, AEW's first stadium show. Does it get any bigger for AEW than that? Their first stadium show here in America?
It sounds pretty big to me, man. Sounds pretty big to me. I can tell you that. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. I want to start the show off not necessarily on a downer note, but I do feel like we should address the big news. We are going to talk about all the silly news, but unfortunately, we lost a heck of a man. Steve Mongo McMichael has passed away, and I think they're putting together some celebration of life plans for him now. I've heard that we might be a couple of weeks away from that, but I know he had a long, rough fight, and thankfully he no longer has to fight. He's finally at peace. But what a career he had in the NFL, and then of course in broadcasting, and famously becoming a 4-horseman. What did you think of Steve Mongo McMichael?
I always enjoyed being around Steve. He was a funny guy. Always had a good sense of humor, and thank God he did, because in his world, you needed it with this Lou Gehrig's disease. Was just absolutely horrible. I can't think of any worse any worse situations for a guy to be in. he was always so active, so entertaining, and so he's going to be missed without question. I'm happy and thankful that he got into the NFL Hall of Fame prior to passing.
Yes.
I thought that was a cool thing, and he made that just by the skin of his teeth, so to speak. But he was always a fun guy to be around, a good dude, man's man, no doubt about that. So he'll be missed. There's no doubt he'll be missed, and he did a great job wherever he was. He brought life and party and happiness and things of that nature to the scene. So he'll be missed, as I said, and I'm glad that we got a chance to be around him as much as we did, quite frankly. So, a swell guy, sweetheart of a guy, and I just, like I said, to say he's going to be missed is an understatement.
I think he's probably been given an unfair shake by a lot of wrestling fans over the years, Jim. As a reminder, they signed him up to wrestle one match. It was supposed to be a celebrity match, with football players on a pay-per-view. But it worked out so well, they said, okay, you're just one of the guys now. And now without, wrestling for 3, 5, 7 years, however long it takes most wrestlers to actually get on national television, he had his first match that way and then just became a regular. That's kind of an unenviable task. I mean, you're almost set up to fail. And as if that's not enough, they give you the added pressure of being given that horseman moniker.
Yeah.
Man, you're swimming upstream in a lot of ways at that point, are you not, Jim?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He was a swell guy, no doubt about that. And as I said, he'll be missed tremendously. I just thought he had a great personality, and he just was a good dude. He was a man's man. So he'll be missed wholeheartedly on many fronts. Party guy, funny guy. So he's just going to be tremendously missed, and I'm glad that we all got to know him as well as we did while he was still here.
Amen to that. Something that almost nobody talks about, and I know we're not going to spend a ton of time on it for a variety of reasons. But another contribution that Steve Mongo McMichael made to the wrestling business is, I don't know, without his foray into wrestling, meaning first showing up in the WWF around WrestleMania 11, and then later, of course, becoming a more active part of WCW. But without him trying his hand in the pro wrestling space, I don't think we ever get Deborah McMichael in wrestling either, right? I mean, that would be a path she would have found on her own, right?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. He added a lot to the equation, and he, like I said, he's going to be very missed, very much missed. He was a funny guy, loud, braggadocious, just a tremendous person, and had a great big personality, and he's going to be always going to be loved and missed by his fan base. So, but I had a lot of fun around him. He just was the life of the party, and I think that's the best way to describe him. He was the life of the party, and just did a hell of a job in all aspects of his career.
Well, shout out to Mongo and his entire family. Thoughts and prayers. I know that it's got to be bittersweet. On the one hand, you hate that he's no longer with us, but on the other hand, you're so thankful that he's no longer in pain
and suffering. He's not suffering anymore. That's the key thing, I think, Conrad, is he's not suffering any longer, and he's going to be missed in many fronts by many friends, especially by the Nate. Flair was a big proponent of Mongo, and Deborah was such a sweetheart of a lady, and he's going to be missed in several areas of his life. So at least we all got to know him as best we could, as much as we could, and he just was a sweetheart of a guy.
Well said, Jim. Over the weekend, of course, the entire world was talking about WrestleMania last weekend, and you and I didn't get a chance to catch up. So I wanted to see, since you were in town, did you have a chance to catch WrestleMania? What did you think?
Well, I didn't. I was busy with all these things going on, and so I was lagging behind a little bit. It was just one buzz after another. One, it's just hard to catch up. Excuse me, with everything going on. But I had some moments, but it's hard to catch up. It's Conrad, how it is, our schedules and our lives. It's just hard. It's hard to catch up, and I missed out on some of the things that going on. I had a great time at Wrestle Con. That was busy. I was very busy on that front, and so it was all good. It was all good in that regard. I had a great time with all the activities ongoing. So it was fun. It was fun. I missed some things, uh, and I just had a great time with the time that I had. But I was just right in the middle of things. The WrestleCon, uh, all these other appearances and things that I had going on were just fun stuff. I just needed more time.
Absolutely.
I needed more time on my dance card.
Well, we've got more time with John Cena. We know that he's going to be with us through the end of the year before he calls it a career. And as it stands right now, he is a 17-time world champion. Maybe you didn't have a chance to catch the match, but I'm sure you heard the news. At least from a marketing perspective, Ric Flair's been marketed as the 16-time world champion for like 25 years now. And now it feels like that record has been broken. John Cena at 17. How does that news strike you, Jim?
Well, it's just another number, to be honest with you. Uh, I, I'm, I have a lot of respect for John. I signed John. John was playing center at Springfield College in Massachusetts. And when we found him, signed him, trained him, and he's always been a good friend and has done a great job. So he's been a very great contributor to the pro wrestling space, as we like to say. So he's just John's a classic guy. He's very much devoted and valued as a top commodity. I'm not big on all the numbers. It's just one of those situations where it is what it is. But I have a lot of respect for John, and it's interesting to see where the landscape of how he is, how he's structuring his exit.
Yes,
and I think that's kind of important. He's got a strategy, and we'll see how that all works out going forward. So he's been a great space holder, shall we say, in pro wrestling. And I'm glad to know him. I'm glad to be a friend, consider him a great friend. So I think he's just he's a darling. He's an important aspect of our society of pro wrestling, and has always represented himself very well, quite frankly. And I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad that he and I are buddies, and I appreciate his contributions to the pro wrestling business. He's a sharp guy. It's always been interesting to me is one thing of this about John is that he's not afraid to put himself out there. And that big bald spot in the back of his head, male pattern baldness, has not been a great friend of his. But I say that tongue in cheek. He's just a swell guy, and it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates his role as time goes on.
I've got so much to follow up with you about John Cena, but before we do, I got a little pop quiz for you. Did you know the average testosterone level in the US has dropped by 1% in men every year since 1999? That means today's man has significantly less testosterone than previous generations. And by the way, it's not just age. Everyday exposure to chemicals in our food, our grooming products, and even the environment is accelerating this decline. Now, you can't always avoid these factors, but you can take action to protect your health and performance. And that's where Test X9 comes in. This message is brought to you by Nick Aldis, the WWE SmackDown General Manager and former world champion. Test X9 is a clinically supported, all natural testosterone support formula built to help you fight back and perform at your peak. Test X9 combines 9 powerful, clinically studied ingredients shown to naturally stimulate testosterone production while also blocking excess estrogen conversion. You'll find no fluff and no gimmicks, just real ingredients that are backed by science, with independent studies for each one available directly on the product page so you can actually verify the results for yourself. But Test X9 goes beyond just testosterone. With magnesium activation technology, it's designed to improve strength, energy, recovery, and even sleep, giving you more power, sharper focus, and the resilience to take on whatever life throws your way. Nick Aldis knows what it takes to succeed, both physically and mentally at the highest level, and Test X9 was built with that same mindset. Whether you're training hard, chasing goals, or you just want to feel like your best self again, Test X9 is the edge you've been looking for. So don't let the decline continue. Head on over to legacysupps.com. That's legacysupps.com and use our code JR and you'll get 10% off your order. That's code JR for 10% off at legacysupps.com. That's legacysupps.com with the promo code JR. Stop the decline with Test X9. Jim, when we're talking about John Cena, I mean, when I just brought him up to you, you just heaped praise on him. And I think the world does that. Like, we're all sort of conditioned to know and understand that John Cena is one of the legitimate good guys in professional wrestling. Yep. We all love him. He's a beloved figure. And it makes me question, how do you think that works with him being positioned on the program as a heel? Is it effective? Will it work? Will he retire as a heel? I mean, certainly it feels like he's got to become a babyface before the end of this, right? In the meantime, do you think fans are buying it? And what can they do to make it more meaningful, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think so. He has a lot of good positive qualities, including being a babyface again. But I think we shouldn't get in any hurry on that. He's just does a great job of representing himself and the brand and the business. So I have a lot of confidence that John's going to always end up doing the right thing. And the right thing is whatever is right for John. He's a smart guy. He's got a great career. He embraces a great career. So I'm a big supporter of John Cena. There's no doubt about that. He's represented the business well. He's a smart guy, and I think he's just however way he decides to end it. Him being a heel is cool. I don't have any problem with that. I think he's perfect for that role. It keeps you on your toes, and he'll stay on his toes, representing the business as he is. And I think I'm a big believer in John Cena, the John Cena brand. He's worked very diligently to build, and I'm like I said, I'm a big supporter of John Cena. He's got that notice that haircut of his. He reminds me of an old time boxer, a wrestler boxer with that haircut, old school wise. So I'm a big fan of his, as you can tell. He's represented his business as well as anybody could. And so I'm all for John Cena. I'm a John Cena fan. And he's just done a great job of representing pro wrestling in a space that needs his quality and his abilities to communicate. Great communicator, and so I'm a Cena fan, no doubt about that.
One of the other big stories coming out of WrestleMania is something that happened on night 2. Just before the main event, we saw an appearance from Stone Cold Steve Austin, and fans were thrilled to see that and hear that glass break. And here comes Stone Cold on the ATV. Unfortunately, I guess it was bound to happen eventually. He crashed into the guardrail. Did you see that video? What'd you think, Jim?
I saw the video. Didn't surprise me. He's a little bit of a I thought it was past its time. It was bound to happen at some point in time. So, but Steve was a welcomed addition. He added a lot to the event, and he's still a dear friend. And I have a lot of time for Steve Austin. Have had for years, since day one. So good for him. He added a lot to WrestleMania, and I'm sure glad he got to make an appearance. And he adds so much to any event that he's able to be involved in. And he was just it was great seeing him in that space, as we say. And I'm always going to be a big Stone Cold fan. He's done so much for the pro wrestling business. It's hard to put into words what he's meant to pro wrestling. And so I'm a Stone Cold fan, always will be, and I believe in what Steve does. He's good at making his own decisions. So good for him. Good for Steve. I'm glad he's doing well, living in Nevada, and he's just a credit to the business without question.
Perhaps the biggest story on night 1 was the announcement that the WWE has purchased Triple A. Jim, you've been around the business a long time. You've seen lots of promotions being sold, famously, of course. Bill Watts' territory sold to the Crockett's, and then later the Crockett's sold to Turner. And, well, years before that, I guess the Georgia territory sold to Vince. And then, of course, we know maybe most famously ECW and WCW became part of the WWE opportunity. What do you make of this new foray into Mexico, WWE acquiring Triple A?
A little bit of a head scratcher. I'm not sure what the value is, how much you can monetize that investment, but I'm fully supportive of it, no doubt about that. But I believe it's the right move. It's going to be interesting to see how it grows and all that good stuff. So, hey, let's just let it grow and see how it evolves. Evolution's a big thing, and how the plans are for it to grow and to matriculate is going to be something that we'll all be able to share in the growth, if that's the case. So it's going to be fun to see. It's going to be fun to see. It's an interesting venture. It's an interesting venture, to say the least.
Conan has actually talked about this on his podcast, and he's laying out that he has no problem working with Jeremy Borash. As I understand it, Borash has a great relationship with Dorian, the former owner of AAA, and I believe Dorian's going to stay on. So I think Borash is maybe about as good of a liaison as you could have. I know you've spent a lot of time with, well, most everybody in the wrestling business, but I don't think you spent a lot of time with Jeremy Borash through the years, right? Just the timelines wouldn't line up more often than not, right?
Yeah, kind of. I'm a fan of Jeremy Borash. He's a smart guy. Does a good job of building he's a good brand builder, and he's done a good job of building that relationship between pro wrestling and whatever he's working on. So good for him. Good for AAA, and I'm just anxious to see how it grows. What is the growth pattern going to be? And but I'm all for it. I'm all for growth, and it's just going to be good. It's going to be good for everybody involved, I think. So we'll see as time goes on.
There's no doubt it's going to be interesting to see what happens with AAA. Conan would even say that, quote, our problem in AAA isn't our talent and it isn't our booking. It's that we didn't have any money. So, for example, they said in the WWE, if you put all of our TVs together for 1 year, it's not as much as they spend on one TV in the United States. Our show will look a lot better and we're going to be able to work with their talent, just not NXT talent. And now with money, you'll see what we can do. And he would also say the reason the company was sold is not because we were going out of business. The reason they sold the company is because Dorian Roldan put his ego to the side and he understood that we could never grow if we didn't have help and capital. And now we have it. But business is not bad. The last 2 years, all of our TVs have been 85% to full. Our business isn't bad. So this is interesting to me to think about what this means. And I find it fascinating that they've announced this show that's going to happen in Los Angeles just before Money in the Bank. It's going to be AAA and WWE as a joint venture in Los Angeles. But that same week, I think, is the week that AEW will be doing Dynamite from Arena, Mexico, which I'm proud to say is completely sold out, Jim. First of all, have you ever heard of a major wrestling promotion here in the United States doing their weekly television show from Arena, Mexico? I think this is a first. That's kind of exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it speaks to the growth, and it's smart marketing. It's creating an awareness. There you see that's a good visual right there. The graphic is there's some studs in that picture. Kenny Omega is special. Will Ospreay is special. The luchador component is special. So it's cool stuff. I'm excited about the potential growth, and there's a lot of talent in that graphic right there. So I'm anxious to see how it articulates, as so Angstrom used to say, matriculates on down the field. I'm anxious to see how that continues to grow. Growth is something you can't not plan for growth. Growth is imperative, and you just got to have it. You got to have growth, and I'm excited to see where it goes. It may be past my time. I don't know, but the thing about it is, I'm very happy to see where all takes us.
Let's talk a little bit about one of the controversies coming out of WrestleMania. It was the fact that Kevin Owens found himself unable to compete. Our thoughts and prayers are with Kevin, as we know he's got a major surgery ahead of him, and who knows how long he'll be out. So we do want to keep that at the forefront of our mind. But with him off the card, that meant Randy Orton was looking for an opponent. So they positioned that segment on the show, Jim, like an open challenge for Randy Orton. And I speculated, hey, Sami Zayn would make sense here. I think a lot of fans were hoping they might see the return of Rusev. But what we got was Joe Hendry, who's the TNA World Champion. And after a couple of RKOs, he's going to take the pinfall. And it happened 25 years to the day after Triple H beat the ECW World Champion, Taz, on SmackDown. Both of those happened on April 20th, which I thought was an interesting little footnote. But what do you think of TNA having their champion lose an open challenge at WrestleMania in the middle of the card? It was to Randy Orton, but there's some old school folks who say that's never happened before for a reason. It shouldn't have happened. What say you?
Nonplussed, to be honest with you. I don't know if it needed to happen, but Joe Hendry is a top hand in my view, and so, but it's just funny how Joe's got a unique following, and I'm I'm a big fan of his work, his in-ring work and his work as a human being, classy guy. And so it's good for him. It's good for him. They're building the brand, and Joe Hendry's a part of that brand building. So all good in my view.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's all about marketing at this point. You're trying to get that guy established. You're trying to get that brand established. It did get a big reaction, and these days, I do think, the North Star has changed a little bit. You're trying to court attention at all costs. You're trying to land these television rights fees. You're trying to, gain influence and traction on social media. Once you've sold all the tickets, at that point, it's really about just trying to create as much buzz as you can
Right.
on social media, right, Jim?
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's it. Create awareness, positive awareness is the key term, I think, there. So, yeah, Joe Hendry's a talent. He's a talented kid, and he's paid his dues over the time. So I'm anxious to see where his timeline how it progresses. So, and time will tell. He all of a sudden Joe Hendry could get over and be a top star. I think he has the ability to do that. So, but like I said, time will tell. It's always the same way in wrestling. The guys that you don't know will get over, do get over at times, and I think that's kind of how I see that whole scenario playing out. Is Joe Hendry's a star. He's going to be a big star as the time goes on, and I think that's the key thing. Is that let's see how he progresses. Let's don't count our chickens before they hatch. Let's see how this thing all evolves. And I think that's a key thing right there. Is that Joe Hendry's a star, and he's going to do well. And so let's just let it play out and see how it goes.
Well said. I can't wait to see what's next for Joe Hendry. I do want to make you chuckle. I don't know that you saw this, but Logan Paul revealed on his podcast after WrestleMania that he actually made a $1 million offer to Stone Cold Steve Austin on behalf of Prime. The idea was Logan asked Steve to come down to the ring at WrestleMania dressed up as the Prime bottle. Go check this out at grillingjr.com. Jim, how hilarious was that look? Stone Cold's head hanging out of a Prime bottle. No surprise the rattlesnake wasn't up for that, right?
No, it didn't surprise me at all. Austin's still all about business.
Yes.
And that was kind of I don't know. It just didn't seem like it fit. Stone Cold's not going to compromise his character and what he's built in the ring for anybody. So I'm a big fan of Stone Cold as always will be forever. I still think he's the biggest star ever in pro wrestling. So and I don't know what's left for Steve. I don't know what's. I don't think that there's the door is shut for Stone Cold by any stretch. But where does he go from here is the key thing, and he's certainly not in a position that Steve can dance to his own drum, and I think that's where he is right now. He can do whatever the hell he wants to do, and do it well. So I'll always be a Stone Cold fan, and if you're a real wrestling fan, you're going to be the same like me. You're going to be very proud and very happy that Steve has still got the passion to do a great job in his various endeavors within the pro wrestling world.
No doubt about it. I think a lot of fans were disappointed they didn't see him involved in the main event, but maybe what they were disappointed in the most is the absence of The Rock. But before we talk about that, I want to brag about our friends at Stopbox. If you own a handgun for self-defense, your storage likely fits into one of two very frustrating categories. It's either locked away, meaning it's safe but out of reach in case of an emergency, or it's unsecured, which leaves it vulnerable to anyone. Well, Stopbox USA saw the problem and designed a groundbreaking solution. It's called the Stopbox Pro. And with the Stopbox Pro, you'll never have to choose between security and readiness again. Its ingenious push button locking system gives you fast, reliable access when every second matters, without the hassle of keys or the reliance on batteries. It's also 100% mechanical, so it works every time, no power needed. With Stopbox USA, you can finally have both security and readiness. And the Stopbox Pro's mechanical keyless system allows for fast, secure access without the risk of fumbling for keys when every second counts. It's also battery free, so you never have to worry about your lock not working. And our listeners are getting 10% off your entire order when you use the code JR. They're even giving you a buy one, get one free offer on their Stopbox Pro. So that's 10% off and a free Stopbox Pro when you use the code JR at StopboxUSA.com. Did I mention that all the Stopbox products are proudly made here in the USA in their own facility? Not only does this ensure the highest quality craftsmanship of every product that they send out, it also creates meaningful jobs and opportunities for the American workers. And you can actually travel with peace of mind because the Stopbox Pro is TSA compliant. That's right. You can securely and conveniently transport your firearm through checked baggage airline travel thanks to the Stopbox Pro. For a limited time only, our listeners are getting this crazy deal. Once again, not only do you get 10% off your entire order when you use the code JR at StopboxUSA.com, but they're also hooking you up with a buy one, get one free for their Stopbox Pro. That's 10% off and a free Stopbox Pro when you use the code JR at StopboxUSA.com. Discover a better way to balance security and readiness with Stopbox.
Great concept, great idea, no doubt about that. It just makes sense. It just makes a lot of sense. And I wholeheartedly endorse this product. I think it's smart. And so good stuff, Conrad. It's a good sponsor for us. And it works out well. Works out really well.
Check it out if you haven't already. StopboxUSA.com. Use that promo code JR. So, Jim, everybody's talking about The Rock and whether or not his absence was a downer on WrestleMania. It seems almost unanimous that when Travis Scott came down, since Travis Scott and The Rock were first involved with Cody's heel turn, they expected him to be there in the main event. And most fans walked away feeling disappointed. Pat McAfee actually discussed this on Monday after WrestleMania. And on Tuesday, The Rock joined him and basically said, "No, I never planned to be there. I watched at home from the couch." What did you make of this? The idea that it feels like there's some whodunit. You know, maybe The Rock is like, "Hey, this is Triple H's show now." And I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic right now in WWE. Did you expect The Rock at WrestleMania? I think most fans did.
I did not. I did not. I had no I had no thoughts that it was going to happen. I've been happy if it did. I had no issues if it did. But there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, Conrad. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and that's the scenario, quite frankly. And it didn't affect me, yay or nay. It didn't affect me, yay or nay. And I know Rock as well as anybody. I signed the guy. He was one of my star recruits back in the day. So, but I was kind of nonplussed by it. I didn't expect him to be there. But then again, maybe I should have expected him to be there. It just didn't seem like it made a lot of sense, yay or nay, that he would be a part of WrestleMania. I think we were spoiled a little bit, quite frankly.
Do you think that this could eventually lead to The Rock perhaps being in a tag match and Triple H being in a tag match across the ring from him? Or is this just a real life political gamesmanship playing itself out in front of the camera?
Maybe the latter. Maybe the latter. It didn't bother me, yay or nay. It's not that. I don't want to say it's not that big a deal. Rock's a big deal in any format, any scenario. but I never had any expectations that Rock was going to be a part of the whole promotion. I had nothing to lead me to that concept that it was going to be there. It was anytime the Rock is going to be involved, it's going to add to the presentation, without question. So, but I don't think it was a deal breaker, yay or nay, quite frankly.
We'll see what happens next. I do think there's some fans who were disappointed and upset by that. But if it is political gamesmanship, it makes me wonder if there's more to the statement that The Rock had on Pat McAfee's show. He was pretty pointed in the way he was describing what happened. And then when our friend of the show, Dave LaGreca from Busted Open, they do a fabulous job there on Sirius XM. Well, Dave reacted to what The Rock said on the Pat McAfee show, and Dave had a meltdown. And as a listener, we love those classic LaGreca meltdowns. But The Rock actually took to social media and did something I've never seen before, Jim. He wrote, "Hi, Dave. The business is a complete work. Always has been, always will be. Every aspect of it, every match, every interview. Please join me, Cody, Cena, Brian, and the rest for our creative discussion so you can expand your perspective. Until then, stop ranting. It's not healthy, my friend. Enjoy the show. P.S. Tell Bubba I have Grand Marnier and hush puppies for all of us." I appreciate the shout out to Bubba, but what do you make of this? Having a talent come out and say, "Hey, the business is a complete work. Every aspect about it, every match, every interview." This is a weird statement, Jim.
Yeah, it is. It's a little awkward, to be honest with you. A little awkward, to be quite frank about it. Well, hey, it's one of those deals got to play out, Conrad. You know, I don't know where it's headed. I don't know if any of us know where it's headed. But time will tell. Time will tell, without question. So, and I'm anxious to go along for the ride. No problem with me on that end.
It will be interesting to see what happens next, because since WWE has announced they're doing a writer's room show, it's called WWE Unreal, and Triple H is promoting it in the trailer, saying they're going to pull back the curtain and actually show us what's happening in the writer's room and behind the scenes as they're delivering some of these plans and ideas to the talent. And it makes me wonder, is that what this Rock Triple H thing is headed towards? We're making everyone feel like, oh, this isn't supposed to happen, but then they deliver it. If that's the angle, I think it's genius. But what do you think of them doing a writer show? It'll be on Netflix this summer. It's called WWE Unreal, and we'll see what's happening in the writer's room. What do you make of that as a traditionalist in wrestling?
Interesting concept. I'm willing to play along with it and see how it evolves and what the plans are, how it will end up, what the end game would be. So, time will tell. Time will tell. I know that's a kind of a stock answer, but it is what it is, Connie. Hell, we don't know where it's going, and I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for what it's worth on how that's going to work out. So, but I'm a fan of the unknown. I'm a fan of the unpredictable, and certainly this is one of those unpredictable elements that we can all kind of play along with if we choose to. And I choose to play along with it and see how it's going to work out.
It is going to work out. The WWE's business is just rock solid right now. They're making more money than ever. I'm sure that train will continue. And it's business as usual for AEW too. I do want to talk about some news and notes over there. Since you and I have clicked record, not only did we mention that Arena Mexico sold out almost immediately for AEW Dynamite there, but another piece of news that's happened since you and I got together is that Josh Alexander is now officially a part of the AEW roster. He is indeed All Elite, the former Impact Heavyweight Champion. He had quite a run there as their top dog. Before that, he was part of a fabulous tag team with Ethan Page called The North. I'm a big fan of Josh Alexander. He seems old school. He seems like your kind of guy. Are you pumped that Josh Alexander is inside the tent of AEW now?
Yeah, I think he's a talented guy, and I think it's well, let's wait to see how it plays out. Sometimes the biggest issues that we have as aficionados of pro wrestling is how things are going to end up. We have to have more patience, and I think patience is something that we can't over speak enough. And it's just important that we have patience, and I'm anxious to see how it all plays out. It's just we don't know how it's going to play out. Josh Alexander's a talented kid, so we'll just have to kind of play it by ear, as they say, and see how it plays out as the time goes forward. And so I'm a big fan of letting things evolve, and so I don't know how better to put it. Patience is a key thing. How's it going to work out? Patience is a key thing. So let's see how it plays out at the end of the day.
We should talk about another statement that I know got my attention. It's from an interview that Bryan Danielson did recently. And man, you've seen it all in professional wrestling, Mr. Ross. So I can't wait to get your take on this. Danielson's on the record as saying, "My neck is wrecked. So it's not no chance, but it is risk versus reward at this point, right? So I want to be able to live comfortably with my wife and kids. One of the things our society has a real problem with is realizing when enough is enough. And I'm very satisfied with my career. And I think enough is enough." Man, that's refreshing to hear. We all have our opinions about wrestling retirements. I don't think that Bryan Danielson is saying this to mean that he'll never wrestle again, but I do think that his days as a full-time wrestler are probably behind him. And full-time means something different now than it did 5 years ago, or certainly 15 years ago. But what did you think of this statement? We have a problem with our society understanding when enough is enough, and he's content with his career. What do you think of that?
I applaud him. I applaud him, quite frankly, on his stance, his position, and I'm a big fan of Bryan's. He could add so much to AEW's roster. I think that's important to note. So I like the fact that he's done a good job, and he can add so much. Whether he wrestles again or not is irrelevant to me. He can add so much behind the scenes, Bryan, and I hope that he gets a chance to shine one more time if that's what he chooses to do. So we'll see how it works out. He's got more to give. There's no doubt about that. He's got more to give, and let's just see how much more we're talking about here.
I for one am looking forward to a big weekend. There's a big a twist this weekend, and Tony Schiavone for one is fired up about it. He's going to be back calling live wrestling on TBS on Saturday. So it's the same time as normal Collision is, but it's a different network because of the NBA playoffs. Live wrestling Saturday night on a TBS network. Boy, that just feels old school and vintage and nostalgia and all that, doesn't it, Jim?
It does, and it's I'm all for it. Anytime Schiavone can get back in the saddle is a good deal to me. He's got a lot to add, lot to give, and so anyway, I think it's pretty cool.
It is cool, and I can't wait to see it. Of course, tickets are on sale now at AEWTIX.com, and I encourage everybody, if you haven't already, go make plans to see AEW live. JR is going to be there at Double or Nothing. They've got a big show coming up in Arizona in May. I can't wait to see that one. It feels like AEW always delivers on pay-per-view, but they're hitting a lot of fun dynamites and collisions lately. And whenever I sit down and start handling some wrestling, I'm usually trying to handle something good to eat too. and everything tastes a little better with a little help from jrsbbq.com. Michael Rathburn over on Twitter earlier this week tagged you and I in a tweet, Jim, and he wrote, "The absolute best seasoning I've ever had on a steak. God almighty. I've been telling you guys for years to hook up that all-purpose seasoning. You're going to absolutely love it. You'll also love the main event mustard, the Chipotle ketchup, the hot sauce, 2 types of barbecue sauce. There's something for everybody, including a whole host of autographed collectibles, cards, action figures, trading cards. There's something for everybody. And as JR always likes to say, it costs nothing to look at jrsbbq.com.
Not a damn thing. It's all free. And the price is right. So, check that out. Go to the site and look around. That's what I suggest. It's a cool thing. And we're building our business there very slowly, deliberately. But like I said, there's nothing better than our all-purpose seasoning. It works in so many different ways. And so give it a shot. Check it out.
I encourage everybody to go check out jrsbbq.com. And before we wrap up, I do think we should talk a little bit about what's happening with Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan. They got the internet worked up earlier this week when they did an NWO style trailer, lasted about 2 minutes, and it was black and white, and it certainly felt like it was 1996 again, based on the vibe they were trying to lay out. And they were teasing the third man. Well, as I understand it, the third man was revealed, as you and I are recording earlier this morning, as Izzy Martinez, who is a very decorated amateur wrestling coach. I think he's even the 2024 Olympic coach. He's coached a bunch of UFC champions. And when it comes to amateur wrestling, he's on the short list of qualified guys to lead a camp and have a big coaching regimen. And I mean, all the champions that he's built through the years. So I think a lot of wrestling fans thought maybe this means Hogan and Eric were doing a new professional wrestling promotion, but it certainly feels like, based on this reveal, that they're starting Real American Freestyle, which I guess we're led to believe is going to be like something collegiate wrestlers can do after their college careers are finished. I think most of us know that if you don't decide to go the Kurt Angle route and join the professional ranks of WWE or AEW or what have you and become a professional wrestler, the other option is often to go into MMA. Now that you've got wrestling down, let's see if you can add striking and some jiu-jitsu and maybe hope to land a job in the UFC someday, or just go back to coaching. You know so much about amateur wrestling. Maybe you say, well, my career's behind me and let's focus on coaching. But for those folks who still wanted to compete, but they didn't want to go into pro wrestling and they didn't want to get punched in the face or learn jiu-jitsu in the UFC, and they just want to continue amateur wrestling, which is for a lot of these guys, their life's love and passion. This may be the answer for that. If that's what this is, and it's going to be sort of a UFC style presentation, but focusing on amateur wrestling, I think I could get behind that. That sounds fun to me. I want to check that out. What do you think of that idea?
I'm interested. I'm curious. And I don't know where it's all going to head. Again, it's like we said before here, having the curiosity and the patience to let things evolve is important. We got to have patience and see where things head. Eric's entrepreneurial spirit. We'll see how that plays out on the long haul. And anytime you get Bischoff and Hogan together, you just never know what's going to work out.
Well said. We'll all stay tuned to see what's next for Real American Freestyle. And Jim, I'm going to have a lot of fun watching Collision this weekend. As a reminder, it's on Saturday night on TBS rather than TNT. So make plans to join AEW this weekend. I've got an eyelash in my eye, and Jim, it looks like we are out of time. Is there anything else we need to plug or hit for you today as we're putting a button on today's show?
No, things are good, man. My appearances have been good. I had an appearance here a while back, and that's been a cool thing. So no, I'm good, Connie. I think we've covered our bases today. A lot of different variety of things to talk about. and just my voice is about shot, but I've had a good time hooking back up with all the fans, and that's been important for me to continue to maintain and to grow our fan base, and that's pretty cool for me. I'm very happy that we're talking about things like this. The business needs to grow, and whatever shape that takes is what we should cultivate.
Looking forward to next week. Our topic will be the one and only Sean Waltman. We've teased this one for a few weeks. WrestleMania threw us a curveball, but we'll finally be back on track talking our nostalgia episodes starting next week with Sean Waltman. The week after that, we'll hit Backlash 2005. Before you know it, we'll be talking about The Rock's 1999 and 2000. And then we're going to break down JR's 1995. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. But keep those questions coming. Before you know it, we're going to be doing another Ask JR Anything. May's looking like it's going to be a fun month, Jim, here on grillingjr.com. I hope everybody listening will go right now and hit the subscribe button and turn on those notifications bells at grillingjr.com. It costs absolutely nothing. It's totally free. So just click that subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell. You don't want to miss it the next time we're live. Jim, that'll do it for us today. I hope you have fun down at the beach today, and looking forward to catching up this time next week, man. We'll see you next week right here on Grilling JR.
Thanks, everybody. Love you. Appreciate you.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today. And hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. Adfreeshows.com.